It ended in July 2022 with flashing lights, federal indictments, and a jaw-dropping sum, $100 million worth of jewels, gold, watches stolen from a moving Brink's armored truck at a lonely rest stop in California. Authorities finally charged 7 men, the biggest jewelry heist in U.S. history, and the victims have been waiting years for answers. But that final event is just the most recent chapter in a grim chronicle of America's greatest heists. Each one bigger, bolder, bloodier than the last. Strap in as we dive deep into the biggest 5 greatest heists in U.S. history. 1. The Great Brink's Robbery, Boston, 1950. On January 17, 1950, a crew of masked gunmen pulled off what was then the largest robbery in U.S. history. $2.775 million in cash, checks, money orders, securities. They studied the route, copied locks, timed guard shifts, even waited till just after 7 p.m. when vaults were open and security was lax. In the end, though, less than $60,000 of the loot was ever recovered. Several of the robbers were arrested in 1956, just days before the statute of limitations would have expired. 2. Lincoln National Bank Robbery, Lincoln, Nebraska, 1930. 20 years before Brink's, an earlier giant. Robbers walked into Lincoln National Bank, quietly loaded up $2.7 million in cash and securities, and disappeared. It held the record for decades, setting the benchmark for what a heist could be. The money, mostly lost forever. Some think key suspects fled with it overseas or buried it under false identities. 3. Brink's Heist of 1981, Nanuet, New York. Not all great heists are clean. On October 20, 1981, armed robbers hit a Brink's armored car at Nanuet Mall. Lives were lost, guards killed, bullets flew. Around $1.6 million was taken. This raid didn't just steal money, it left scars that law enforcement still remembers. 4. DB Tuber/Anthony Curcio Robbery, 2008. In 2008, Anthony Curcio, the so-called Craigslist robber, pulled off one of the cleverest thefts in recent memory. He posted fake job ads, got dozens of decoys wearing work outfits and safety vests, then pepper-sprayed a Brink's guard and escaped with $400,000 using a cable pulley rig from a creek. It wasn't the biggest haul, but the ingenuity made it nearly headline movie level. 5. The 2022 $100 million jewelry heist, California. And now our shocking newest entry. In mid-2022, after days of tracking, 7 suspects followed a Brink's truck transporting high-end jewelry from a show near San Francisco. They waited, they followed for 300 miles, and struck at dawn while the truck rested. 73 bags of jewels gone. Streets left buzzing. Lawsuits followed. Prosecutors described it as the largest jewelry heist in U.S. history. Here are the hidden threads that tie all these heists together, and a twist nobody saw coming. Planning and insider knowledge is always critical. Brink's workers, guard schedules, building blueprints, they all played parts, whether in 1950 or 2022. Money never recovered is a common theme. In the 1950 Brink's job, only $58,000 out of $2.7 million was ever recovered. In more modern heists, recovered jewelry still doesn't equal the value stolen. Victims still fighting for justice. Mistakes and betrayals often cause downfall. In Brink's 1950, internal feuds, a murder attempt, and finally one member flipping just before the statute of limitations expired cracked the case. This are some major revelation that flips everything, and here's where it gets wild. Authorities investigating the 2022 jewelry heist recently uncovered evidence that multiple suspects had ties to earlier heists. Not just similar methods, but shared logistics, overlapping networks, even partly recycled gear. Some of the suspects in 2022 are alleged to have invested in companies that handled legal logistics or transit for Brink's contracts, giving them potential inside access. If proven, this could mean a decades-long criminal network was operating continuously, feeding off inside info, security flaws, and replacement failures. What we thought were isolated spectacular thefts are actually connected chapters of a bigger story. The same gaps in security, the same trust betrayed, the same loot never fully traced. The revelation threatens to rewrite how we rank heists, and may add another great heist to the top yet to be fully exposed. Climbing back to today, the $100 million heist is more than just numbers. It's the latest proof that the underground heist game is evolving. Digital tools, insider whispers, longer chase routes, and then, finally, legal exposure through modern indictments. But even in 2025, for every diamond recovered, hundreds more vanish into warehouses, offshore accounts, hidden hands. The moral? No matter how much security you bolt, how many cameras you install, how much money you throw at protection, greed, human error, betrayal, arrogance, all remain the weak links. Note, history tells us that whenever criminals plan something bold enough to hurt everyone's sense of safety, law enforcement inches closer, but sometimes it's decades before they catch up. The biggest score isn't always about what was stolen. It's about what's still hidden, and some parts of the greatest heists are still in the dark.